I now call this meeting of the Upshur County Board of Education to order. We'll proceed with roll call.
Yes. Jan Craig.
Present.
Sherry Dean.
Here.
Susan King.
Here.
William Parker.
Here.
Roy Wager.
Present.
I'm here. Tim DeRico.
Present.
April Sinek.
Present.
Sarah Wills is ill and not able to join us this evening. Elaine Pugh.
Present. If you all would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Mrs. King, will you lead us tonight?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Wager, will you do the mission statement, please?
I am. Upshur County Schools is committed to creating a united community for educational excellence.
You've been presented with an agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. We need to pull under financial year-end financials. They were not ready for this evening's meeting. Also, last meeting, Ms. Craig mentioned policy 2312 had typos in it. That has been corrected, and I wanted to make sure that I brought that to your attention this evening.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented with those corrections?
So moved.
Mr. Parker, second. Second. Mrs. Dean, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll start with delegations this evening. Will Ms. Sinek
She'll be timing.
timing?
Yes.
We'll start with Sarah Collins.
Hello, some of you know me, some of you don't, but I do work at Rock Cave, and I just want to put out there that we are a small school, but we are an important school, and we would like to stay open. I know that attendance is down, but you gotta think virtual. How many kids are virtual? I know I personally got 3 text messages over the summer trying to remind me to enroll my kid. I don't want my kid to be virtual. I want her to be in the school. So let's see why are we pushing that? Those are kids that's not coming to our school if they're virtual. Let's push to get the kids back in the school system to be in our classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you. Christy Godet.
Hello again. All right. Today I have some information. I even have a pretty graph to give you. I did a deep dive on the recent elementary schools in West Virginia that have closed, just to do some comparison. Came out with a pretty interesting graph. I'll give you a copy of that. It's not easy to find that information either. There was one really great article came out last December that cited a bunch of counties, and then but it didn't give the information for all of them. So then I had to find 50 different newspaper articles from all over West Virginia. But I did that. So, let's see. On the graph, you're going to see that, in Preston County, they closed, these were just from this past year, so 2014. Bellows and Rollsburg, their population only 59 and 42 students, according to the CEP data from the state. Wood County, Fair Plains Elementary, only 165 students. In Kanawha County, they voted to combine last year Bell, Mary Ingalls, Malden, and Midland Trail. Their enrollments are 268. That's the only one that's even close to Tennerton's enrollment. 146, 165, 160, but they are all going to combine into a brand new facility. In Tyler County, Arthur I. Borman and Sistersville, 292 and 279, pretty comparable to Tennerton, but they also are getting a brand new facility in 27-28. So So again, Upshur, according to the CEP data that we have from the state site that's accessible, Tennerton and Base, Tennerton has 298 and Base at 544. So again, just pointing out, we would become a very large elementary school. Now, something I did leave off of that chart, I like to have all my papers with me. This is how I operate. If you see my computer, I have every tab open, just so I don't lose it. I did leave off of there in Nicholas County, but what they're doing, it doesn't even compare. So they do have a very large elementary, not very large, they have Summersville Elementary 376, Glade Creek Elementary 138, and Summersville Middle 545. But they are also building a brand new facility, creating a brand new, what they're calling academic complex pre-K through 8, 27-28. Interesting, I also thought I did ran the numbers for Bell, Mary Ingalls, Malden, and Trail in Kanawha County. Those 4 schools combined would only have an enrollment of 739, putting it below Tennerton and Base combined. So, just pointing out the, it just seems ridiculous to have such a large elementary school in the middle of Buchanan. We have been reaching out. I know the traffic is a problem, and many people are willing to speak up about that. So I also am giving you a paper that has some questions on it about the SBA proposal and when that might be made public. I understand there are dates, but I know that the 12th was the deadline, I believe, according to their site, for when proposals for this upcoming funding cycle are due. And we've been told that closing Tennerton Elementary School would save the county money, but just saying that and having hard facts to represent that, we haven't been given that. So we would like some numbers to be, it's hard to argue a blanket statement that there's nothing to argue there. I can't tell you whether it will or whether it won't if I don't see your checkbook. So, and we've not been given any specifics about the SBA proposal, if there's county matching funds, or how any of that is supposed to work. So, again, we kind of want to know what we're arguing instead of just shooting in the dark. We'd also like our current budget for our school, again, so we can kind of look to see how exactly closing our building will save our county money. And spending millions to save $1 million seems like, I don't know, a little Donald Trump math there or something, I'm not sure. So that's all I've got. I think I've made the timeline again. Thank you.
Thank you. Madeline Bennett.
Okay, good evening. My name is Maddie Bennett. I'm a proud graduate of Tennerton Elementary School, class of 2022. I'm now a freshman here at Buchanan Upshur High School, a varsity athlete, part of student council, soon to be recognized on honor roll, and a student through Peter Ponce Technical College. Tonight, I want to talk to you about Tennerton Elementary, a school that is more than just a building and why consolidating it would be a mistake. Growing up, I lived only a few minutes away from Tennerton, and it was like a second home to me. I was raised not to miss school, but honestly, I didn't want to miss anyways. I wanted to go because of the way staff treated us and because of the friendships I built here. Tennerton was a place where learning felt exciting, fun, and safe. Every single staff member, from teachers to aides to the office workers, created an environment where we knew we mattered. Right now, Tennerton is thriving. Education levels are strong, the school is full, and it's at one of the few places in the counties where staffing has never been a problem. That alone is worth paying attention to. At a time when schools everywhere struggle to hire and keep Tennerton teachers, Tennerton continues to attract people who want to be there. That doesn't happen by any accident. It happens because of the environment, the leadership, and the culture inside the building, and it is special. Everyone wants to be a TES Tiger. Another thing that makes Tennerton stand out is their attendance. Kids usually want to come to school. Even through difficult years, Tennerton has had fewer absences than many other schools. When children love their teachers and feel supported, they show up ready to learn. If the school is consolidated, kids will then be scattered into new environments with teachers they don't know, classmates they aren't comfortable with. and traditions that will no longer exist. Some of the older students will go to homeschool, and that is not better for the kids. That is not a promised education. I also want to address the issue of money. In 2022, Tennyson had funds available for renovations to expand the building and improve the facility. That money was taken away before the school had a chance to use it. So now, instead of helping Tennyson grow, we're shutting it down. To me, that feels backwards. Instead of closing schools that are succeeding, we should be investing in them. We should be supporting what's working, not dismantling it. But beyond numbers and statistics, Tennyson holds something much harder to measure: tradition, pride, and memory. I still visit the school who shaped who I am. I remember my brother's senior walk through those same halls. Even during the challenges of COVID, Tennyson was still at the top. I remember the end of my 5th grade year, walking up with my class to the baseball fields for a celebration and crying because I didn't want to leave. These traditions matter. The pledge every morning where students promise to be ready, responsible, and respectful. The senior walks, the celebrations, even the little things like class pets, or the way teachers decorate their rooms every single year. These are the experiences that give our kids roots, that build pride in their community, and that make them love learning. If Tennyson closes, all these traditions will then be wiped away. And once they're gone, they won't be able to come back. One day I hope to drive past Tennyson with my children and say, this is where I went to school, this is where I grew up, and this is where I learned some of the most important lessons in my life from some of the most meaningful women in my life. That's something every former student should deserve to do, and something every future student that gets to experience something that special to where they feel that throughout their childhood should be blessed to do. Tennyson is a strong, vibrant, successful school that has touched the lives of countless students, families, including mine. Closing this will not only erase a building, but also a community and a history. Considering what Tennyson truly means to me and current other students and generations still to come, we should try to keep this school open. Every kid there that I have walked through in the hallway, I've felt comforted by, or I've looked at them and I've always seen a smile on their face. I probably haven't heard a kid cry in Tennyson unless it's been a stumble and fall forever. And I'm there a lot, and every chance I get, I want to go back. I mean, I remember everything. Tennyson and schools obviously are going to have new staff, but I have never found something wrong in a Tennyson staff. All the way to the cooks, they greet you every morning, they say good morning, they tell you everything about their weekend, and they love you like their own. And that is something so special. And it's truly an honor, and this is why I believe we need to keep Tennyson open. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to superintendent's update.
Wait a minute, here's two more. No, that's So tonight's update is, pull this close so you can hear. Sorry. Tonight's update, I'm going to begin with an accountability update. Identification of schools related to the State Plan for Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015 is bringing an opportunity to Hodgesville Elementary. They've been given the designation of comprehensive school improvement. Title I schools are identified every 3 years, and Hodgesville has been identified in Category 3, meaning red on all reportable academic indicators and yellow on attendance. If this fails to produce 5% of the Title I schools, an average of the academic indicators is used. In their case, it was an average of the academic indicators and their attendance was in yellow. So when you're identified, there are supports that they do provide. So what are those supports? Local school improvement coach, which would be Jody Johnson, other district staff, including the superintendent, assistant superintendents, director of curriculum and instruction, special education, and student services, the local school improvement council, WVDE school improvement coordinator. Cycle of continuous improvement is going to be used. And in that cycle, this is what they will be doing. They will identify local needs that are specific to Hodgesville. They will, along with the support, will select evidence-based interventions. They will plan for implementation of those interventions. They will implement and they will examine and reflect. This is what the continuous improvement model has been used in all of the schools that have been identified in the past and will continue as we move forward. So the first step in this process is going to take place on October the 7th. That's when all identified schools across the state are going to meet with the WVDE Office of Federal Programs and School Improvements. Updates will be provided regularly to you all and the public so that everyone is informed of the progress that Hodgesville is making through this important process. Rock Cave was not re-identified, which is important to point out because they did make big progress that needed to be made, and they're in the final of 4 years of support and will continue to receive some school improvement funding through their budget that they can use to sustain the improvements that they've had there this year. The next update I have there for you, as I promised at every meeting, strategic plan update. I included the goals for you again, and just wanted to point out that all current accountability and benchmark results are being added to the ELA and mathematics goals. We have progress notes that are part of the strategic planning process online, so we do add those throughout the school year. In ELA, we have 42 teachers and administrators participating in letters training with an additional cohort registration open for those who have not completed or had not had the opportunity to register. For math, there will be a regional math support professional development that's going to take place at Wesleyan on Thursday, October the 30th. Our current average daily attendance is 94.15%. Our goal is 95. Chronically absent is 19.05%, and our goal is 10%. Both of those were pulled yesterday evening after I knew that Weavis had done the daily poll. In our multi-tiered system of support, relating back to that goal in the strategic plan, elementary schools are scheduling SATs based on current benchmark results related to the Third Grade Success Act. PLCs are scheduled for each school and throughout the year, supporting addressing needs in Tier 2 and Tier 3 for students who are not successful through core instruction. If you remember when I was sharing with you at the last meeting, we talked about the importance of core instruction and how that's developed in the RCD units that our teachers are implementing with fidelity in their classrooms. So that multi-tiered system of support is addressing those students who are not being successful in that Tier 1 core instructional piece. Speaking of the SBA project, September the 12th was the project deadline for the needs submission. November 3rd and the 4th, superintendent interviews will be held at the SBA office. On December the 15th, awarding of needs projects by the SBA board will actually take place. So I've given you all a copy of the actual project, and this will be posted on our website tomorrow so that the public will also be able to view it as well. We have, our project is additions and renovations to Buchanan Academy Elementary. When we look at the proposed funding sources that are part of the project, and you can see that on the second page there of the proposed project, we are requesting $17,090,219 from the SBA. The local funds commitment is going to be $1,898,913,000. The total project cost is going to be $18,989,132. So the goal of this project is to support the strategic closures of schools within Upshur County schools and enhance the overall educational environment. So questions have been asked, how exactly will we accomplish this if we do receive that funding? In Phase 1A, there will be a construction of a new gymnasium and physical education classroom, which was part of the original plans when the addition was completed at base in 2007. In Phase 1B, there will be extensive classroom renovations, including the installation of a modern HVAC system to improve climate control and air quality. It will also address the roof, ceilings, lighting, and other critical systems across the 86, 92, 93, and 07 additions. In Phase 2A, there will be the demolition of the original gymnasium and classroom building that was constructed in the 1920s, aligning with the 2020-2030 Comprehensive Educational Facilities Plan. Phase 2B will be the construction of 16 new classrooms connected to the 1992 addition. Traditional as well as alternative education classrooms to support elementary students requiring differentiated educational approaches will be part of that addition. In Phase 3, there will be demolition of the 1968 single-story building, replacing it with designated parking area to enhance a safer parent drop-off and pickup area. This will support and improve streamlined traffic flow during arrival and dismissal times. We have had some questions posed, or some also that I kind of anticipated that may be asked. And by the way, we will put this information also online. I'll explain that here in just a few minutes. So where will the funding come from to support this project? In the first year, the estimated cost savings from the closure of Rock Cave is $865,982.81. After the closure of Tenerton, the cost savings from the closure of Tenerton is $419,850.86. That gives us a total of $1,285,833.67. So where is the rest of it coming from? From carryover funds. That would equal the total local contribution. That is $613,079.33. The figures were put together by our finance office because it also will be part of the impact statement that will be provided at the schools as well as online. And those figures are based on utilities, personnel, maintenance, transportation, and other costs. Those other costs are things that could include supplies, other things that we may need to address throughout a school year. So those were pulled from finance. So do we currently have the funds to support the project? Yes, and carry over from prior years. And then once we have the financial statements and they are audited and finalized, we'll have the knowledge of estimated funding support in the form of carryover from fiscal year 25. Another question that has been asked is, will there be any redistricting as part of this process? Because I do know there is a concern about enrollment and what would that large number look like when we put them all together at base. We are required each year to look at enrollment numbers and distribution of students throughout the system. In pulling together figures and classrooms we either do not have filled or had to close this year, yes, some redistricting will have to take place. We will follow our open enrollment process if families determine they want their child to attend another school and there is room to accommodate them according to class size limits established in West Virginia Board of Education Policy 2510. I did provide those to you in this update. Another question that's been asked is, will any personnel lose their jobs and how will this be determined? West Virginia Code 18A48F specifies the following that is listed here. Notwithstanding any provision of the article to the contrary, when a majority of the classroom teachers or school service personnel who vote to do so, in accordance with procedures established in this section, and who are employed by a county board, the board shall give priority to classroom teachers or school service personnel in any school or schools to be closed as a result of a consolidation or merger when filling positions in the new school created by consolidation or newly created positions in existing schools as a result of the merger. So each year that these are proposed, as this statute goes on to say, prior to the implementation of the plan, the superintendent shall cause to be prepared and distributed to all faculty senates and to all schools or other work sites a ballot on which teachers and service personnel may indicate whether or not they desire those affected by the school closures to be given priority status in filling new positions. A secret ballot election is conducted for that. Then the statute goes on to discuss about faculty senate for classroom teachers and responsibilities, that would take place at that time. At each school or work site, service personnel supervisor would also hand deliver or get those back to the superintendent the results of the election. The superintendent tabulates and posts all of those for everyone to be able to see so that all the schools can see what the vote was as well as the public. There are things that are implemented separately in the statute. For classroom teachers only, if a majority of the total number of teachers who cast a ballot vote to do so, and for school service personnel, only if a majority of the total number of service personnel who cast a ballot vote to do so. So then if the majority approves, then the teachers or school service personnel in the school or schools to be closed have priority in filling new positions in the new or merged schools for which the teachers are certified or for which the school service personnel are qualified to meet the standards set forth in the job posting on the basis of seniority within the county. A teacher or school service person may receive priority for filling a position at a school affected by a merger or consolidation only for the position being created by the influx of students from a consolidated or merged school into the school receiving students from their closed school or grade level. It goes on to discuss seniority about the most senior teacher from the closed school or schools would be placed first. The second most senior would be placed next, so on until all positions are filled, or until all the teachers in the closed school or schools who wish to transfer into the newly created positions are placed. The same process starts with our most senior service person from the closed school or schools that would have priority in filling any of those positions in their classification category. They go to the next, and next, the same as we would with professional personnel. If there are fewer new positions in the newly created school or merged school, then there are classroom teachers or school service personnel from the school or schools to be closed. The teachers or school service personnel who were not placed in the new positions retain the same rights as all other teachers or service personnel with regard to seniority, transfer, and reduction in force. To simplify that, it simply means that if anybody that is involved in the merger of either one of these schools, if they are not placed in Tenerton, or if they're, at Base, or if there was a need to hire additional personnel at French Creek, then they would remain in that same seniority list, and any position that would open, they have the right to apply for. Then it goes on to explain what a consolidation is, what a merger is, and then the fact that the provisions of the section do not apply to positions that are filled by a county board prior to the effective date of this section. Again, all of this is going to be posted tomorrow on our website for people, because we're going to create just a place for all of this. It's been asked about what were the results of the GSA scores and impact moving to a larger learning environment have on student learning outcomes. Well, I wish I could look into a crystal ball, but here's what I'm going to say. Tenerton and Base are in the top 3 in mathematics and ELA across the county past year, demonstrating a dedicated instructional staff meeting the needs of students in each building. Bringing this together in one building can and should continue this, allowing all students to benefit from the combined staff and the expertise of all of them. So, I'm trying to keep up with all questions that have been either posed to me or anticipate things. And then I also wanted to provide you with a copy of the actual application that was made to the School Building Authority. In the last part of this, there is maps or schematic drawings. They're not architectural drawings that actually show where the gymnasium addition is going to be if we are successful. The second map actually shows you where it fits into the current footprint. The next map shows you the 1920 original building, and it shows you how there is a connection to that 2000 to the other addition that was added. The next map then shows the new addition that would occur once the 1920s building is demolished, still showing that the 68 addition is there. And then the final one demonstrates where the 68 addition would be coming down. So again, we will post this on the county website in the morning so that you all could have copies of all of this. And that's all I wanted to share with you this evening.
Moving on to board member committee meeting updates. Mr. Parker?
The Stockford Youth Center committee has not met, so I have no update.
Mrs. King?
Yeah, we just met with the Parks and Recreation prior to this meeting, and basically, same report as last time, except they did close the pool down, and so there was only about $100 difference in their budget. There's going to be 3 trail cleanups that they're going to initiate starting this Sunday, and then again in October and November. They're still going to do the porta potty and building project down by the state police for the trails, and that's about it.
Mr. Wager?
I gave my report at the September 11th meeting. I think that we'll meet next month.
Mrs. Dean?
No report.
4-H is not met. You've been provided with minutes from the previous board meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If there are none, I will entertain a motion to accept those.
So moved.
Mrs. Dean, second.
Second.
Mr. Wager. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? On to superintendent's goals for 2024-25.
So the state decided just to keep the same goals in place for this upcoming school year, but we did need to put these out so that you could see what those goals were. There are 6 goals there, and some of these speak directly back to some of the things that we found after the arrival and the actual takeover occurred. So we are going to continue to work on those, and of course I'll report out on those as things come about. If we continue to go on down, we do have an agreement between us and Kristen Thompson to provide psychological evaluations and reports as the costs outlined in the agreement that she provided. This is a new agreement that did go into effect on July 1st. It took us a while to work through all the language and things and actually get a copy of this from her so that we can make sure that we are providing in a timely manner and on timelines those evaluations that we need to have completed. You also received an MOU between Upshur County Schools and Home Base, and this is so that all children who attend school in Upshur County have access to therapeutic services on an outpatient basis through Home Base, so that they can continue that through the 25-26 school year. Your policies, again, are on second reading, and as was pointed out earlier, those corrections were made to the typo in policy 2312, as was reported at the last meeting. If we move on to the consent, unless someone has questions, I'm sorry, does anybody have any questions?
I actually had a question about the last report.
Okay,
So I'm sorry, and I didn't know if I.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So my question is, my first question is, when I looked at the last board meeting, I had asked about the busing from Hodgesville.
Yes.
Because knowing that they were the lowest performing school.
yes,
If that was being considered. And you had stated that policy was a 4336
yes.
about the
Times.
number of times or minutes of overage, but we have probably over, and you said that was a consideration for Hodgesville. We have probably 30 or 35 runs over that minimum right now in Upshur County. So it's not like Hodgesville would be the first one to have that. So I know that there are state exemptions for that. So I guess my question is that, or I don't know if that's a question, was that a viable reason? Because we do have overage anyway in about 30 to 35 runs. So that can't be like the only reason.
When the impact
Not
statement is
because-
completely put together, it will become very evident about transportation, because that's part of what has to be put in the impact statement.
Right.
Where we'll actually, and I'm going to make sure I can hear, where we actually will identify times of buses. So Mr. Reynolds has already provided that to me, so that
Right.
will become available in the impact
But there
statement.
can be approval for exemptions by the state. I mean,
Yes, there can, and we do have exemptions.
Especially with a rural county like us, because we already have what, 30, over 30 exemptions right now. So my other question is, are we paying a fine for under acreage at Buchanan Academy presently?
No,
We are not paying any fine at all?
No.
Okay. So if it's an under acreage, I guess I didn't understand how they can expand on property that's under acreage already.
so we're not expanding, we're tearing down.
Tearing down
And putting,
one and putting one in.
Back.
Okay, so nothing is going to be expanded because there's no room, obviously.
correct.
The acreage is at 6,200 a recommendation.
You want to say that?
The acreages in policy 6,200 for facilities are recommendations. They're not necessarily set in stone, and they're for new construction. If you're going to consolidate a high school or something like that, they recommend a certain amount of acreage, and they can determine whether or not that acreage is adequate for the facility.
Right, because I think, was it 5 acres that was needed, but they only had like 4.1 or something? Is that correct?
Potentially. I don't recall those numbers off the top of my head. It's been a little while since I've studied that.
Okay, that's all I had, questions I had for
Okay,
those two.
all right. Any questions about policies or anything before I go on? Okay, under the consent agenda, under facilities requests, this one was previously approved prior to the Hall of Fame banquet actually taking place. I asked the state to prior approve that since we got it late. Under field trips, Buchanan Upshur High School Band has been asked to participate in a performance in Pigeon Forge in Gatlinburg, and we provided that information for you from April 30th through May 2nd. More information is forthcoming on that, but they did need to get that in because they do have to pay an initial down payment to be able to continue on that trajectory to raise the funds for that trip. The next one is for our Buchanan Upshur High School girls wrestling team to participate in a tournament at Walsh Jesuit High School in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. The students' lodging and transportation is being covered by their parents. And then they've also been invited to participate in the 4th annual Beast of the East tournament at the University of Delaware in December. And the students' lodging and transportation is going to be covered by their parents, and our coaches are covering the actual entry fee for that so that they can participate. Under financials, unless there's questions about those field trips. Then under financials, you did receive a copy of the latest check registers, and I am in receipt, Mr. Parker, of what you had sent to Mr. Kelly. And I did want to follow back up that Mr. Luke Sheldon at the department is going to be responding to those questions for us, but he's also going to start working with our folks in finance to remedy this problem completely. So I just wanted I wanted to make you aware of that.
I do have copies for you.
Okay,
There was 2 just POs after the service.
yes,
But my biggest concern was the one regarding AT&T Mobility. It appears we've been paying for 4 phones that we do not have use on.
yes,
So that's about $2,000 a year.
yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Fisk is working on those.
All right, thank you.
You are welcome. Now, personnel. It's a very short personnel list this evening. Fran Ross, her effective date of her retirement is now November the 21st. Cecilia Stewart did resign from her extracurricular transportation aide position. And then Mr. Bowman, who has done a fabulous job as an alternative ed teacher here at the high school, he changed his effective date of his retirement to August the 29th. Excuse me. Then if you look over on employment, we don't have any professional employment at this time, but in service personnel, Cecilia then decided that she could substitute as a transportation aide, so she put herself back on the substitute list. And then we are hiring Dean Eckel as a substitute custodian. In athletics, assistant boys basketball here at the high school, John Egris was the candidate that was selected by the school and forwarded to us. And when we look at service personnel transfers, We do have Jennifer Loudon from Special Ed Aid, and she is now going to be in ECAT aid at Washington District. Then Natasha Perry, who is a secretary, she's the one who meets and greets here at the high school. She's leaving the high school and she's going to become the secretary at Rock Cave Elementary School. And she will start there tomorrow. We do have a short list of approved volunteers. At the next meeting, it will be a much longer list because we finally have the background checks and the necessary paperwork on those folks so that they can be added to our list. Any questions about personnel?
Future meetings, October 7th at 6 o'clock here at the high school, October 21st, and November 4th. I'll entertain a motion.
Wait, I still number 10. Personnel, oh, I'm sorry.
Approved volunteers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Before we adjourn, I have a question about the agenda. In the past, I mean, are we posting agendas on the website?
Yes, ma'am. We had an issue. We had a glitch.
5 days? Okay.
It was there, it disappeared. We have been back and forth with it this time. We did send it to the media as policy states, and we also posted at the board office.
Right. We had several.
Yes, I got an email too, and I did supply that to the person yesterday evening because I didn't want them not to have it.
Do we have any update on the lawsuit?
We have no updates legal at this point.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Parker, second.
Second.
Mrs. Dean, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:38.